What's going on, guys? Bonafide Hustler here. I'm here with a green room member today. Who do we have in the house?
Brandon Penrod.
Brandon Penrod. That is right. So we have overcome massive technical difficulties. Yeah. So anyways, browser difficulties. But welcome to the Green Room Hangout. This is Brandon. We're going to get into his story here in a second and how he is crushing Amazon FBA, tips, tricks, all that kind of stuff. I'm the Bonafide Hustler. Of course, you're on my channel. I flip and resell stuff I find from garage sales, estate sales, yard sales, flea markets, pawn shops, swap meets. I put it on places like eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, my antique booth, and consignment stores in town. That's what I do. I also run the greenroomuniversity.com. It's the second link down below. But before we get to our guest, I want you to download the free amazing guide. Go check it out. Here it is. Boom. It's the first link down below. Really awesome stuff to find. Now let's get into our guest, okay? Our guest is, well, I have firsthand experience with you many times now, right?
Yeah, a few times, yeah.
Few times, that's right. I met you, what seemed to be like 2 years ago at a Starbucks. You hit me up from the YouTube alias, the Bonafide Hustler, but then you joined the Green Room, and then I saw you at Las Vegas, right?
Yeah.
And then we went mountain biking last week, right?
Yep.
It's funny how, you treat people with respect, and look what comes, man. You get all kinds of friends and fun stuff, and you even got a great bike hookup as well from me, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I took it to the shop, and that guy, it was triple the value of what you sold it to me is what he said it was worth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I gave you a really good deal. So we'll talk about that deal here in a second because that's the tail end of the show. Anyway, so this is Brandon Penrod. He is a Green Room member for how long now? Like,
since I don't when the room opened, 2013 or 14.
You're one of the OGs. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 6 months after the room opened.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna get to that part too. So, anyways, you're Brandon. You don't have much of a YouTube presence or anything like that, correct?
No.
All right, so you are in the Green Room and you are crushing Amazon FBA. We're going to get into like how you did it and all this kind of stuff and some really interesting things about where you are headed in life. So I want to make sure that I sound good. You sound good, Brandon. I think I sound good, but we got to let the people in the feed tell us if we sound good, because it's to be senseless to go through an entire show and just something to be wrong. And YouTube's been having some crazy technical difficulties lately. Reagan first experienced it, I think, earlier last week or something like that, and then I experienced it the other day, and it really sucks. So I don't want anything to happen because I know this content's gonna be good. Okay, so let's where are you from? Like, where are you actually from, and where do you live now?
From Waxahachie, Texas, just south of Dallas, like 30 minutes.
Okay, that's where you're at now. Did you always grow up in Waxahachie? What?
In Arlington, but yeah, it's right. It's in the same area. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so that's where you're from. You're from Texas, so you're familiar with the hot weather and all that kind of stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
But Texas has got some good sourcing, though, right?
Plenty of it.
Incredible amounts of sourcing, incredible amounts. And let's talk about your thrifting background. Like, when did you first get like perked up with hustling, or like what was the let's go with your thrifting background. Can you remember the first thing that you actually resold for profit?
Yeah, it was clothing.
It was clothing.
Yeah,
okay.
Reagan got me into it.
Reagan got you into it. All right, that's good. Shout out to Mr. Reagan Profit.
Yeah, shout out.
That was a long time ago then, right?
Yeah, that was a while back. Yeah, he was still doing clothing then too.
Yeah, and he got back into clothing. Yeah,
but he was doing it. That was like when he first started doing it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you were doing clothing in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Is it Arlington, right? Dallas-Fort Worth area, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and Dallas and Fort Worth is a huge town. Now, I don't know much about Dallas and Fort Worth. I know they're a big town. I know Austin's got too many thrift stores, too many garage sales, too many everything. How does it look like in Dallas when it comes to thrift stores and garage sales and random stuff like that?
It's crazy. There's a ton of it. I mean, it's everywhere. But then there's a ton of resellers as well, especially up here. But there's a lot of money to be made thrift stores and stuff up here too.
Okay, so now that's part of your like previous life, right? Now you're different.
Right.
You're just a lot different, and you do a lot of different things. We're gonna get to that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't set foot in a Goodwill in a long time.
Yeah.
So a minute.
You deal a lot with Amazon. That actually leads to my next question, which is why Amazon instead of eBay or Craigslist or an antique booth? Like, why did you gravitate towards Amazon so much?
Just because of what a lot of people do is with the FBA, it's like having employees working for you, versus because I could do eBay, but I would have to have employees shipping for me and packaging and room stickers, whatnot. But Amazon, does most of that stuff for me, so I can go out and source more. eBay, I would essentially, if I was doing eBay, I would actually lose money doing eBay the way I do Amazon now.
Okay. And you consider yourself very, very efficient in your like the flow of the business, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. No employee yet or employee yet? Do you have employee?
No, I'm just by myself.
Okay. Has anyone ever helped you with your FBA in the past or anything? Has it always been you?
No, it's been me the whole time.
Yeah, that's what's good about it because your story is very unique. Like a lot of people get help from like a family member or something, or they get employees, but you're cranking out some crazy numbers. And your last month's number, which isn't every month's number, but last month, what did you do on Amazon in sales?
It was almost 84,000.
84,000. So now you can start doing the math and you start realizing, yeah, one guy cranking out 84,000. Now, this is not the only person in the green room that we've had that does big numbers like this. We've had other people, right around, and you're not very old either. So like we've had a lot of people get into that 100K range and cracking the 90K range right around fourth quarter. But it's interesting because you cracked this in April, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So April was a lot of that 84K stuff that you found in fourth quarter.
No, 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 no.
Yeah. So you're
It was
hustling.
like zero. Like all of my fourth quarter stuff has been gone for months.
Yeah. So you're a true hustler. Like you are cranking in the hours, you're putting in the time, which is why I wanted to do this show because a lot of people might be like, oh, okay, big number like that must mean maybe a fourth quarter kind of thing, but no. So it was 85 last month. The month before that, you kind of remember what it was,
It was around 54,000,
right? And the month before that, it was
like 33.
okay. So you're still doing it. You're ramping it up, but then what you told me the other day when we were at a Starbucks or we were riding our bikes or whatever, is that you didn't do that much work on one of those months, did you?
Um, no, it was like maybe February. I didn't do as much. So
Yeah. So February you didn't send in as much, but then you still, because you have good inventory in there, it's still selling for you, right? It's almost like
yeah,
having employees making you money,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So DEQE is saying 84K a month. Wow. So it's 84K in sales, and then your take home is, we won't disclose that. You told me, and it's really good. But it's 84K in sales. Yeah, it's good money. So, anyways, we're gonna get to your typical day in 1 second. Brandon, I have a question for you, and that is, where do you think our furthest watcher is going to be from? Like, take a guess, because I'm going to poll the audience here in 1 second. What do you think the furthest person that's going to watch you on YouTube is going to be from?
Let's go with Kuwait.
Kuwait. Wow. Did you ever serve?
Yes. Yeah, I was
Okay.
in for 4 years.
Okay. Did you go to Kuwait?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So Kuwait. All right. So where are you guys from? Let us know. We have 106 people in the house. Hit the like button as well. Don't forget to look at the first link down below. It is the free guide from the green room. Ooh, man. All right. We got a pretty far one, dude. We got a pretty far one already. So do you think where you live in Dallas, Texas, is Australia further than Kuwait, or is Kuwait further than Australia from Dallas? What do you think, man?
Oh man, don't get me lying. I have to look at the map. I know where Kuwait's at, but I don't remember where Australia is at.
Okay. Australia is south of Philippines. It's in that one C region over there. We have LA, Houston, Texas, Utah desert. Man, people in the desert are listening to you, man. Sri Lanka. There we go. There's a faraway place right there.
Yeah, I was in Utah not too long ago.
Yeah, Utah is beautiful, man. Zimmerman is saying, thanks for your service. I bet you get this a lot, right? Thank you for your service from Tanya.
Yeah, when they know. Yeah.
When they know. Yeah, exactly. So awesome. Okay, so you've been in the green room for a while. Let's get into a typical day for us now. Not an atypical. An atypical would just be like you got errands and stuff. A typical day, like throw the errands in there, throw your sourcing. Like,
on the
what is
road?
a typical Brandon? Yeah, let's talk about on the road because you've done some road stuff, right?
Yeah, I've been on the road for months, but I mean, there is no really errand running when you're on the road. I mean, you're on the road, you're working, all day, every day, 7 days a week. That's what. When I did that $84,000, I did to make that much money. I was working about 7 days a week.
7 days a week. Okay, so let's see. You wake up in a hotel bed, right?
Right.
Okay. And what's going on through your head first? Like exactly how does the day start? You wake up from the bed, I guess you open the windows. Do you got to do like the stereotypical movie thing where people open the windows and kind of check out what the day? No. Okay. So what do?
No.
You get coffee in you?
Yeah, I got to get coffee in me to start off the day. And just, get up, load up everything. And whether I had a shipment from the night before that I did, and throw everything into the car. and that gets monotonous too. Constantly unloading the car, don't bring it into the hotel, taking it back out, night in, night out.
Yeah.
And but I go out, throw everything in the car, drop the shipment off, and just start hitting Walmarts and work until, usually I tried to work until I spent at least $1,000 or $2,000 that day. And sometimes I was able to do that pretty quick, depending on whatever stores I went to and whatnot. I mean, I could start off at 9 o'clock in the morning and spend maybe $3,000 by 4 o'clock. I'm thinking it's quitting time. Let's go find a hotel and get started on this stuff and get working to ship it out.
Okay. What kind of vehicle were you working with? Like, I'm trying to paint a picture for the people out there.
Yeah, it's a Nissan Altima 4-door.
So you're not doing anything special. You don't have a box truck. Like, you're not doing
No.
anything special. You're making it work, and you're living in a pretty incredible life. You get to go around the country and like do things and travel. You're out of hotels. I've seen people stack boxes out of their hotel rooms. Is it certain hotels that can do that kind of stuff, and they can do a pickup from there, or are you manually taking some of these boxes to UPS?
Yeah, I'm taking them to UPS.
Okay.
And yeah, it can be a hassle sometimes because some of the UPS stores can be an hour and a half, 2 hours away from where you're at.
Really?
And, so you've got to maneuver your way and source, if you can source. There's been times I couldn't fit anything in my car because I had so many boxes, but it was just jam packed. But so it can be tricky. You just kind of have to figure it out as you go.
Okay.
But you definitely learn a lot, especially the longer you stay on the road, the more you learn and you figure out how to become more efficient to make everything work. Yeah.
And you know exactly where to go for more boxes or more tape, or you know exactly where to get all these things, right?
Right. Yeah. Just get them at Walmart.
Okay. So we have a really interesting question in the feed for you. It's from 10K on the Bay, our very own Chris Lynn in the green room. Says, so he spends $1,000 on a day. That's amazing. What is the goal for your margin on that 1K? Is it like 100% return, 200% return? Is it 50% ROI? Like, what are you kind of looking at?
Well, to back that up, as I grew my capital, I was able to spend more and kind of get a little bit less profit, because what I found out was I could go out and spend $1,000 in a day and turn around and have roughly 100% profit margin on those items. And, one may be 50%, but if you average it out across the board for that day, it's 100% profit. And so as my capital grew and I was able to spend more each day, my margins would kind of start to shrink down because the products aren't out there. There's not enough products out there that are 100% margin. So to spend $1,000 and get 100% return is one thing. To spend $3,000 in one day, get 100% return is a whole different story. So, with the 50% return at $3,000, it's still $1,500.
Right.
Still pretty good. So,
are you kind of targeting towns based upon their thrift potential, or have you found a inverse correlation? Let's say you go to a busy town and it's like not as good as going to like a podunk town with a Walmart. And like, what kind of correlations are you figuring out here? Yeah,
it's just it's random. I mean, you can go to a city that's got 30 Walmarts and you can kill it, or you can go to another city that's got 30 Walmarts and just do horrible. I mean, it's just, there's really no rhyme or reason. I've been to small town Walmarts and there was nothing there. I don't know if somebody else cleaned it out before I got there or what, but there was just nothing there. So it's just, there's no method to it. You just got to go to each one. It's kind of like garage sales. I mean, you just try to pick the best one. Just do the quality and quantity and what's, kind of net it into a region of what's going to be there. So.
Okay, let's talk about absolute tools that you must have to start reaching big numbers on Amazon FBA. Just being a single kind of person going around, going in and out of like, Targets, Walmarts, Ross, whatever. What are absolute tools you must have? Let me ask you this. Do you have the Amazon selling app, or are you doing a different kind of scanner? What are you running?
Use, like a lot of people, I use the inventory lab and
the KDC thing.
I use the Amazon seller app, but primarily, but I'll use the inventory lab to check Keepa and stuff on the phone. And it's just, quick way to do it, some fact checking on it, on the items and stuff. So,
when it comes to actual scanning, are you using the Amazon scanner in the phone, or are you using the KDC, whatever?
I used to have the little fob,
okay,
but when I upgraded to the iPhone 7, I really didn't need it anymore. So
it's
I
fast enough for you? It's fast
Yeah, the
enough.
camera's pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I've noticed that on my S6 jump to a Apple iPhone 7 as well. Like it's pretty fast. Okay. So now we've nailed that down. How does that? So the repricer is Inventory Lab, right?
Yeah.
And you were talking to me the other
Well,
day.
not the repricer, but the
Sorry.
scanner.
Yeah, the scanner. Okay. And then your repricer is what?
App Eagle.
App Eagle. That's what it is. Okay, sorry. So you have App Eagle, and you were telling me that story about the other day, like how App Eagle, you're paying a pretty hefty amount to this thing, right?
Yeah, it's $150 a month.
150 a month for a repricer. And are you happy with this repricer? Yes or no?
Yes, for the most part. There's some things I'd like for them to change, but yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. It allows you to, like, what do you love about this versus other repricers that you've tried?
It's changing constantly.
Oh,
It's
okay.
constantly changing. I mean,
Like
I
as
think
in updates,
it's
you mean?
set up. Yeah, constantly updating. Yeah, it's
Okay.
I think every 5, 6, 7 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Versus the other repricers out there. Now there may be another repricer out there that does that too. I don't know, but the other ones I've used, you get to set times, and it doesn't change till that time.
Oh, okay, cool. So you're manually setting when you want this thing to reprice, right?
Right.
And are you doing certain categories? Are you doing certain price points? Or like, well, how are you kind of like doing it? And how many items does it take someone to reach, let's say 55K, 84K, a month in sales? Like what's an average amount of items in your store?
2,000.
Okay. So not a terribly large amount, right?
Crazy. No, because the more I have, the more, like I was telling you the other day, the more I have, the more I have to go in there and do upkeeping with the repricing because you know how that works. So
yeah, very interesting. Have you ever had the repricer completely destroy you?
not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
No, don't jinx me.
Well, I've had some reprice. There could be a battle of repricers sometimes on Amazon. I've heard those stories. So you have it set to certain. You have limits set, right? All your limits are all set and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So a repricer is very essential. You're using the Apple iPhone Amazon app, so that's pretty standard. Let's talk about what else is really, really essential to you attaining that number. We figured out your boxes and all that kind of stuff's coming from Walmarts or random places like that. It's kind of odd that the UPS stores, I didn't expect you to say that. Sometimes they're an hour and a half away.
Sometimes. And there's been times where, I don't know if you've ever seen it, Chris, where you have like they're small town stores and they're not, it's not a UPS store, but they'll accept UPS packages. They accept all FedEx, all the packages. And I've ran into some of those stores that I've had to use because, once you get out into certain spots out in Kansas and in Nebraska, there's nothing for 3 hours. There's not a UPS store around, so you have to take advantage of those locations. And
that was a very basic question in the feed right now, but we're going to answer it real quick. G-Mavis Zimmerman, hey Brandon, what is a repricer?
Repricer, I got this. It basically just goes in there and reprices it for you, so you don't have to constantly go in and
every single one, right?
Like every single item you have, and it's not necessary if you're just starting out or if you only have 50 or even 100 items. But once you start loading up your inventory, you're going to want it so it can save you time and you can go work on other things.
Right, exactly. So yeah, there's a lot of people move into the repricer when they start involving 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day repricing everything, and they start realizing like, wow, you start to realize $150 a month is not that big a deal. Am I right, Brandon?
Yeah, it's not in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I just bought this thing. I don't know if you could see it, but I think it's a little hotspot off of eBay, and so I'm going to be paying when we move on into the other subject. But when I move in, get my RV, I can have Wi-Fi anywhere, pretty much anywhere you can get Wi-Fi, I'll have it, and it's like $150 a month, but it's unlimited, and there's no throttling. It's all, you can use as much as you want. But it's 150 there, 150 here. But at the end of the day, you have to spend that kind of money to make these big, profits in my eyes. So
no, you're right. You're right. Okay, so at what point did your business really in the past year like really take off? Like, can you attribute it to 3 things that you were like, that definitely got more sales in and more money in my pocket? If you had to whittle it down to 3 things, like what would you think those would be?
Well, I think one might be is I got a loan from Amazon, which helped a little bit, and which was a real small amount. and that was at the beginning of January. And then probably just getting more focused and more efficient, and then just being, and then probably I would say in December when we had that meetup at the Christmas party in New York, being around other resellers and talking to people and realizing that there was, guys in the group that were just, they're just blowing my mind, the numbers they were doing and stuff. And I'm like, I want to do that. So, just being around other people that, and it's not being around other people that are just like you, but being around other people that are better than you, that are doing better than you.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Because I know a lot of the people that went there, I've met them in real life, and they are like hard hitters when it comes to Amazon. Some are targeting, $1 million this year, 2 million in sales. I mean, they just got very, very lofty goals. And the funny thing is, like, they're almost smashing their monthly goals to get there. So they have to redo their yearly goals because they get so close. It's pretty obvious at the same pace that they're going to completely smash through their year goals. Anyway, that's one of the reasons why, yeah, meetups are good, local meetups. Talk about the Green Room ASD meetup. You were there at Vegas, right? Not too long ago, probably about a month ago, right?
Yeah. Yep. Back in March.
Yeah, and you got around some heavy hitters around there. Did you meet some?
Yeah, I think a lot of
probably already knew them all, right?
I met I knew Jason already, but yeah, I knew a few people, but I met a few new people too. But most of the people I ran into, I knew.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun getting around people. You involve good food, some alcohol, and these kind of like off-site kind of things. And it gets really interesting what people will divulge to you, talk to you about, all kinds of stuff. Man, people aren't really very greedy in the that I've seen in the reselling space, and like that upper tier of people that make big money. They're just not that greedy. Like, people will tell you what they're doing, right? Have you noticed that, Brandon? Like, no one's like hoarding any secrets or anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I would say that and is justified is some of the products that people are selling that are,
right.
They're replaying. But as far as how they do it, I mean, people don't have a problem sharing the process, and that's great.
Yeah, that's right. Lucky says, every day is cheddar weather in the green room. Ooh, that's a good comment. Hey, by the way, if you're in the green room, just type in GR. I'm just always curious to see the feed when it just puts GR on there. So let me know if you're in the room. Brandon is OG in the room, so he has like the most OG pricing of all time, like a pricing strategy that we don't even offer anymore. So you're still on that, which is awesome, man. So we talked about the 3 things you did to really get more sales in. When you're traveling across the country, where do you really like to pop into? Like, you're like, okay, do you like Walmarts? Do you love Targets? Like, what are you thinking? Like, I would hope, and you're looking at Google, like, I want these stores.
Yeah. I mean, Walmart's a big one. I mean, I don't think that's a secret out there anymore. But I mean, there's Walmart, Target. Target's really, to me, I found Target's really good at Christmas time. I'm sure it's good year round, but I like Target a lot at Christmas, and of course you got Toys R Us, and then all your other smaller box stores that are out there. So
how do you feel about places like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross? Does those get you excited? Big Lots, Tuesday morning, like, do those get you excited or no?
Nah, not as much as Walmart does.
Okay. So a lot of Walmart. Okay. Walmart's vast, and the funny thing is each store is independently completely different than the other, right?
Yeah, and they deal with you. They'll deal with you completely different ways. You go from one to the one in the next town, and the managers will deal with you totally different. I mean, you go out there in the back room and buy whatever you want to in one store, and the other they won't let you have nothing in the store. So
okay, so let's elaborate a little bit on that. So they let you go in the back room and let you buy stuff. Like, explain that real quick to the people out there.
Well,
what is that?
It depends on how bad they want to get rid of stuff, but some of the stores will keep stuff in the back. See what they do, and I know a lot of these guys that already go to Walmart know this, but they will, when they get ready to restock the shelves and put new items out, they'll pull the old ones out, put them in the back. They'll just sit back there, and a lot of stuff gets lost back there. And I don't know if they do it once a year, but they end up cleaning out the back room and bringing everything out. And but you can go back and like I went back there and I've probably spent $2,000 on just video games in the back room and the Walmart, and they probably had at least 2,000 titles back there, and a lot of them were already clearanced. and they didn't even know that. They're not priced or anything. But once you get into a store enough, and it can be any store, it doesn't just Walmart, but it could be Target or whatever. But once you get into a store enough, you'll learn that that item is marked at a certain price at like 90% of the stores, and it's a clearance price, but it's just not marked.
Okay. Does it
And
take
so
a special person to be able to get this kind of like privilege? Or, I mean, you're not very special, right? You're just
I think I'm
Brendan,
pretty
right?
special, but
Okay, you're kind of special, dude. Like,
no, Jason Clark will tell me I'm not special. So,
yeah,
but
exactly.
no, I mean, you just got to have the right. It's a lot. It just depends on the manager if they're cool or not. Sometimes they'll let you, and sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll bring stuff out from the back if you ask them. Tell them I'm here to spend money,
Mhm.
and I go and just tell them straight up what I do. And I've never had one sit there and say, oh no, we can't deal with you or anything like that. They always seem like they want to get rid of stuff, for the most part.
Yeah.
Now
Have
you
you
have
ever,
some managers that just won't do nothing for you.
okay, I want to ask you this question. Have you ever found that because they want to deal with you so much that it's positively correlated with maybe their sales quota for a week or their department, or do you see like an electronics guy going, yeah, come into the back, like check out all these toys? Or is it always like an electronics guy going, hey, come in the back, here's some video games and electronic stuff? Like, how does it kind of play out?
It's more so they want to get rid of it so they don't have to deal with it anymore.
Okay.
To me, now your store manager, your assistant manager, it might be a little different for them as far as what their goals are. But the department managers and the employees, they just they'll help you out because they want to get rid of it because it's an eyesore and it's just in the way, and they constantly got to go and mess with it and mark it down.
Okay.
So, and a lot of times they don't have time to even get the stuff to mark it down. That's what they've told me.
So someone like you that comes around is actually like a blessing almost, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Okay. And then you get to go in the back. Where do you do the scanning and all that kind of stuff? Do you have them bring like pallets outside, or do you kind of just go in the back and sit down in a chair and kind of go at it? What do you do?
Yeah, I'll just go through them, and they're scanning them while I'm scanning, and I'm telling them, how much I think that one is because I bought it, 30 times at 30 other WalMarts, and they're scanning to check it, and there's been times where I just walk in there and I just start tossing games into the cart without even having them scan it because I'm pretty confident of what the price is, if they've got it set at. So, or they'll bring them out too, and we'll scan them, go through them. But it's never too hard to do that unless you go in there on a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
And where they've got 100 people back there, then it's kind of difficult.
Okay, so you're hitting these things during the week and like a not so busy time.
Yeah. Saturday and Sundays is tough to source at any of the box stores, especially
Okay.
you get to the bigger towns.
So your weekends are kind of just fun weekend, like you just kind of kick it and.
I still go out. I
Okay.
still go out sourcing, but I know that I'm probably not going to push as hard as I would during the week, and I'm probably not going to, I'm not going to set my limit. I got to spend $1,000 or $2,000. I just go out and find whatever, and I may shut down early.
Okay.
I'll just go back to the hotel, hang out, do whatever. So.
Okay. In this hotel sequence, are you doing daily shipments or by up every other day?
I was trying to, but that got really nerve-wracking, dragging everything in and out of the hotel. Because not only do you have all your bags and everything that you're bringing in, but you've got all your equipment and everything you've got to take in and out. And you always try to get hotel rooms that are close, that are have the door facing out right by the part where you can back your car right up to it but it's not always like that. So I went to shipping every other day, I think every other day.
Okay.
So that worked out pretty good.
For anyone that's thinking about maybe taking their hustle to the road, what's one app that you use to book these hotels, or your favorite app, or are you part of like an SPG member rewards thing, or like Kinky Rewards?
I was using Booking.com, and but I noticed sometimes I can go in there and get a better deal just walking in there and talking to the hotel manager, and plus I always get my military vet discount, so that helps out too. So I kind of got away from the apps and doing all that stuff. Especially when I knew I was going to be moving on to something else, not having to stay in the hotels anymore. I was kind of like, I really wasn't worried about getting the rewards and stuff.
Okay, cool. So many will say that FBA is pretty restrictive and all that kind of stuff. And what are your views on this?
Yeah,
it is. Right
it
now,
is for a lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean, back when and I'm not, old school OG FBA or anything, but back when I started like 3+ years ago, it wasn't like that. I mean, I still remember the first Christmas in the green room when we were doing the FBA. And we're just going, nuts over the Skylanders trap team stuff
Oh
that was
yeah, I
there,
remember that.
and we're killing it. And but there wasn't any restrictions back then.
No, there were.
And now
There
they're
wasn't a
doing
single
it,
one.
and I think they get a little bit overboard, a little crazy with it, a little too excessive. But it's like, you just get one bad apple in there that spoils it. It spoils it for everybody.
Yeah, true.
So,
How restricted are you at this point?
I mean, I don't know. I've talked to people, and I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason, but I mean, I'm not restricted in Nike, and there's a lot of people that are, and they've been selling just as long as I have, or they've sold Nike before, and so I don't. But I mean, I'm ungated in a lot of things, mostly everything. But as far as the restrictions, it's just I've gotten restricted on certain things, like on the Switch, the Nintendo Switch.
Okay, yeah.
I wasn't restricted. I sent it in, and the next day, I went to go scan another one. You're restricted. How did that happen?
Whoa, wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
But then they still ended up letting me sell it. They checked it in and it sold, and I still was restricted. So I never bought another one.
Okay. Do you come across those things a lot?
The Switches?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah, they're everywhere. Yeah.
That's so weird. So hard to find them here in Austin, Texas. What about the NES Classics?
Yeah, I found those a ton. I've got 7 sitting in there right now, and I've probably found overall probably like 20 altogether.
Wow.
I think so.
That is crazy, man. Lots. So, a lot of people are taking their FBA game and all that kind of stuff to the outlets and the shoe stores, and like Nike, for example. You said Nike, and you're saying it because Nike is a pretty big like FBA hustle right now. Don't know how long that's going to last, but why don't you just take the hustle to Nike? Like, for example, do you like doing the Walmarts, or is it a little bit more concise? You can put more money in your basket, for example? How do you view that?
Well, what do you mean? I mean,
Okay, so like a shoebox is like X big, right? And it's got a shoe in it. You might make $30 on the shoe, but then you
right.
can also have like in a shoebox you can fit, gosh, how many video games, right?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
You see
You're
what
talking
I'm
about size versus profit.
versus your car, like what I'm saying, and like what you
Oh,
can haul around.
yeah. I mean, I would get heavy into the Nike game, but there's only going to be so many shoe boxes fitting in my car,
Okay.
and if you're looking at, back when I was selling a lot of shoes, I mean, I think the margins on those were like 40, 50, maybe 60%. I mean, there may be a few here that were a little bit better than that, but I can get a lot smaller items going to all these other stores that have just as much profit. I could fit more profit into that box buying the smaller items.
Awesome. So Krishna Swasitha, I don't know, probably botched that name, but that's okay. Says, this is one of the best green room shows I've seen. A lot of information. Yeah, man, I'm just like hitting you hard, dude. I am just going to, man, you're not going to survive this one, Brandon.
That's right. I brought some Band-Aids.
I think next week we have a bike ride lined up in a trail. You might not make it there. You might not survive this show, dude.
Dude, I'm looking at getting a GoPro, throwing it on the bike.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I can bring a couple that day, and then you can test them out and stuff, and I can show you kind of like the ins and outs of, the cameras, how they work.
If you need any accessories for GoPro, let me know. I got them.
I got a ton of accessories too.
Okay.
So okay, let's talk about what's your greatest fear with all your business in FBA? Oh, this is a good question, man. I had to pop it on you because you are big on FBA, right? You're huge on FBA.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have this is all these questions, all this like hoopla and all the good stuff has to come down to a question that's very serious. And
that's an easy one. I mean, it's losing all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's losing everything. But and that could happen to anybody one day. But I think that's why I kind of rush myself to build up the capital.
Mm-hmm.
So if that does happen, I'm not sitting here, with $200 in my pocket, wondering what am I going to do now? Do I got to go work for the man? Or do I have to go get a job? So, with capital, it gives you plenty of options.
That's good. Yeah, and you were always like when we were meeting at like the Starbucks, like that's the big thing because capital can lead to other business ventures. And you talked to me about some other things that you're considering doing with your friend. I think it's in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, opening up some storefront for something or other. So That is your, so it is, does it ever cross your mind every day? No, like you just keep
No,
going and
no,
smashing, right?
because no, because it's like it's like you've talked about, and a lot of people. I mean, you can't let those negatives come into your mind.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta just, you know, they're gonna come in, but you gotta let them go out. You gotta keep staying positive and just going out there and sourcing them. I mean, you can't, you know, hopefully if you're doing it right, you can control it somewhat. But you know, you're selling on somebody else's platform, so they can, you know, pretty much do what they want with you.
Well, you're also selling new stuff. So that's a big piece of like the suspension puzzle. If you're selling used and getting busted for it and something's wrong with it and too many complaints, but you're selling new stuff, and that already is like a good thing, right?
Yeah, and I try to stay away from the sketch. Some of the sketchy stuff that, you know, some of the stuff that's counterfeited more often than others. You know,
Yeah.
just don't even. I don't even mess with it. It's not even worth it.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna take this second. We're at the 37-minute mark. Hey guys, if you're liking the content, even with the awesome, amazing technical difficulties that we had in the beginning, do me a favor. I'm not a mathematical scientist wizard dude, but we have 146 people viewing, and it was 152 at one point. We got only 42 people that have hit the like button or dislike button. Hit either one. I don't care what you hit. Just make a decision and go with it. Sorry, I had to cough. Okay, so yeah, hit the like button, please. So let's talk about this next question. What do you think what's FBA going to look like in 5 years? If you had to put the Brandon like crystal ball at work here.
I knew this question was going to come.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Man,
I did. I already used a crystal ball. But yeah, I think it's going to be a whole lot more restricted. I don't know. I hate to sit there and say that you're not going to be able to, you know, do the retail arbitrage anymore, but I think it'll probably in 5 years. I'm pretty sure it'll probably all but it'll be eliminated pretty much for the most part. There'll probably be a lot of private label, and just, you know, just their own brands on there.
Right. Another reason why you're making money right now, you're making the capital because you see some of this maybe happening, right?
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, take advantage of it while you can. Ride the waves,
right?
And make as much as you can. And you know, nobody can tell you what to do when you have that capital. That's your money, and you know, there's tons of other things to go out there and make money on. It's not just Amazon.
That's right. I love that attitude. That's a good attitude to have. So New to You Connecticut is saying, or CT is saying, are you home branded? No more traveling? We're going to get to that question because we got some interesting stuff that we're going to talk about here in 1 second. So David M, like, hit me a message, man. I'm just waiting on my chance to be on live with Bonafide. Man, send me a message, man. I want to know what you hustle. Maybe we can get you on a show. Dude, I had someone, you know, Brandon, so you don't have a YouTube presence or anything like that. I had someone on one of my garage sales shows a week ago that had like 100 subscribers. Like, I don't really try to sit there and go, I need the best and baddest people on my show all the time. Like, I just try to get anybody that has a really good story. And your story is fantastic, by the way. Like, I just think it's really cool. And you're chasing like this other interesting chapter of your life is about to open, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a really good chapter. Before we get to that chapter question, well, I guess this is going to lead right to it. What will you be doing in 5 years?
well, hopefully, honestly, I hope I'm not doing Amazon anymore. If I am, I hope that it's other people working for me, and I have somebody else that's running it, and that knows just as much as me, and I pay him really, really, really well, and I'm off sitting on a beach somewhere and drinking, you know, drinking cold ones. But
drinking cold ones, okay.
But I mean, there's other, like I said, there's other stuff, other ventures to get into, you know, restaurants and things like that. And I've thought about that too, but it's like we talked about, it takes a ton of capital to get into some of that stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, you can also take that capital and you could be a silent investor too.
Yeah. And I've thought about, you know, doing the investment route and stuff like that with some of that stuff. But that's, you know, that's a ways off. I mean, that's, you know, down the road. But I definitely don't want to be peeling stickers in 5 years off of packages. That's not my end goal. Yeah.
Well, I get it, man. So now we're going to get to your awesome chapter opening after this one last question. So if you had to, and this is not a loaded question, I haven't paid you to, you can say anything you want after this question, but how did the Green Room help you in your reselling journey?
Well, I think at first it helped me a ton, because that was back when we were just, everybody was sharing bolos like crazy, and, you know, replaying bolos. And then we kind of learned, hey, you got to shut that down a little bit. And it just killed the market. But, you know, we learned in the Green Room too together. But it's just, you got motivating people in there that are, throwing up videos. Shout out to Jason Clark. But that are in there and they kind of just motivate people and they're making a lot of money. They're posting their sales and it's like, especially when Jason was in there posting his sales, his numbers and stuff and Cleater and all that. And I don't think Cleater. Yeah, I think Cleater did post the sales number, but it's just showing you that, hey, these people are doing it. You can do it too. It's just reiterates it. I already knew I could do it, but I'm seeing right in front of me these other people that they can do it.
Yeah, and it's even crazier is you've met these people in real life too. Like so.
Yeah. So I know they're real. They're not fake.
Dream or anything like that. Right. It really exists, right?
Yeah. It's no scam. Yeah. That's for sure.
Cool. So let's go into that next chapter question now, which is let's talk about life and like now all the FBA stuff's out of the way, we can relax. You're like, yeah, right. And by the way, so he said something earlier about 2 minutes ago. He said, I want to be on a beach, popping cold ones. So that's like a Texas kind of slang or a South kind of slang, popping cold ones. Is that what you said, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm pretty sure everyone knows what that means, but what is popping cold ones like? What's the equivalent in your like neck of the woods? Like we call it like soda here, but they call it pop in the north. You know what I'm talking about? Or like a Coke in the north is like all beverages, right? Like you want a Coke? Yeah, what kind? Sunkist. Like but like it's really weird. So I'm wondering, popping cold ones in Texas terms, like that.
You're from Texas, so
yeah, I know. I've heard popping cold ones like my entire life, man. But
it's like a cold beer.
Yeah, cold beer. Oh, here we go. So Shonuff says spark a fatty. Okay, so that's not beer, but actually I know what you're talking about right there. David Mardiaga says Jesus juice. Okay. Having a beer from Boston. Beer me. Oh, beer me. I've heard that one before.
Beer me.
Beer me. Yeah. Is that Southern? What do you think?
Oh,
beer me.
I
don't know. These are all interesting things. It's the reason why I love having 25 whatever K subscribers, because you can like poll the audience and they'll tell you the most amazing stories. Sip and brew. Okay, I've heard that one. Cool. There's nothing wrong with beer, guys. Beer's amazing. So so many funny questions. I mean, funny remarks coming through. Okay, so let's go into your life talk and this RV, dude. Did you look at the RV the other day?
I did.
The one that you showed me?
It was a disappointment.
Oh man.
Yeah,
okay.
That one was. So yeah, I'm still looking for one, but yeah, it's like it seems like it always happens like that. When you don't have the money, they're everywhere. When you got the money and you're ready to buy, they disappear. They just fall in the crack.
Okay. So you were looking at how big was this thing? You showed me on your phone.
This one was like 34 feet, and I'm glad I actually went and looked at it because I got to thinking, this thing's
big,
like,
right?
Well, this is like a yacht, yeah. And I don't want to drive. I don't want anything that big. Not for what I'm doing in and out of the cities, and I just don't want to drive something that big around.
Okay, so you're thinking like 25, 27, 29 now?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm trying to narrow it down, maybe 27, 28 feet, something like that.
Okay, cool. So you're going to get into the RV life. You're going to take this back to the road, except now instead of hotels, you're going to have your own place, right?
Yeah. A lot more. I think it'll make me a lot more efficient, a lot better for the psyche, being in and out of hotels every night.
This is going to be something from like the Fast and the Furious movies. Like you open your RV and all these like computer screens are going off and like ticker symbols.
Oh,
yeah. Like one thing has, instead of having guns, it's going to have like little scanning fobs everywhere. And like, you're going to have like the coolest, latest and greatest and like a satellite dish on top and like missiles that fire out the back in case other people want to take down your cheddar.
Exactly.
I'm glad my mind doesn't get carried away on these shows. But so you're going to take this RV across. Like, how long are you going to be doing this trip for? What do you think?
Well, as soon as I get it, I'm gone. I mean, I don't know. I don't ever really I'll be back in a few months. I go and I source. And if I got to come back for something, to meet with my CPA or something like that, I'll come back. But I don't really, just have a particular time frame. But I mean, after Austin, after the meetup, I think I'll probably be gone all the way through, until Christmas.
Okay. Wow. Jeez, that's a long time.
But,
that's like 6 months.
Yeah, it is. But I think it's going to be different this time around because I'm not going to be staying in a hotel on the weekends. I'm going to be staying at campgrounds or parks or by the lake on the weekend. in in an RV. So it's just
Yeah.
to kind of get away from everything on the weekend. So I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Is there going to be a high propensity of popping cold ones on the weekends out of your RV?
Oh, of course, that and having a fire, and hopefully I don't end
Yeah.
up in it. But yeah,
Yeah, that's okay. I just got the joke. That's a good one though. So a lot of people are saying some funny things on here. Give me a cold one, crack a cold one. So there's some other ones right there. Some really good. Beer me is the West Coast, I think, is what someone said. So, so you're gonna take this RV across for about 6 months. That's awesome. You're gonna start staying in it and everything. You've figured out the Wi-Fi situation with that thing that you bought, right?
yeah,
Where
that
it's
definitely
no
solved the
throttling or
problem.
anything. Okay, so you got
Yeah,
that solved, and then you can bring boxes on board, all this kind of stuff on board, tape on board. It's not going to be a small RV. It's going to be a good one to live in, right?
yeah. I'm trying to see if I can find one with the slide out because I want a little bit more room
Oh, cool.
in there, and yeah, and I may end up changing some things around. I may toss the couch out and put in a desk or something. I don't know. We'll just have to see when I.
This is such a cool story, man. Like, I can't wait to re-interview you, like when you're on the road or like, yeah, it's going to be awesome, man. And so one of the things that you are going to bring in this RV is a bicycle, right? And you hit me up, was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it's a few weeks ago.
A few weeks ago. Okay, so you hit me up and you're like, basic was like, hey, Bonafide, you got anything in your inventory that will fit me? I'm 6 foot tall, blah, blah, blah. Since I've met him before a couple times, I was like, oh yeah, Brandon, cool, yeah. And I happen to have a really good bike on me, man. Like I actually had a really, really good one. I don't come across those type or that caliber of type bike all the time. So, I was able to make a little bit of money on my side. You got an incredible deal. And it's a bike that you can certainly grow into. It's a very professional level bike, right?
Yeah.
We took it for a spin the other day, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty quick, right?
Chris schooled me. He left me behind.
I did not leave you behind. I taught you part of that course. We're going to go back to that course and we're going to go even further into that trail. But so you want to do more fitness related. So you started realizing like after you're on the road, and one of the discussions that we had was that it's tough to get your diet in line when you're on the road, right?
When you're on the road in and out of hotels, it's almost, it's next to impossible.
Okay, that's next to impossible. So that's not good. That's another reason why the RV is going to be a whole different life change, right?
Oh yeah, it's a game changer. Yeah, because I don't have a refrigerator, a portable kitchen I can throw in the Nissan Altima. It's just not going to work. So you can eat a whole lot healthier with the RV, and I'm excited about that. And working out and taking the bike and hitting the bike in some trails and all these other crazy parks. And I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos in the mountain biking when they have all these other just crazy, insane parks across the country and across the world. So excited to try that out.
That's cool. You took your bike to the shop the other day, right? Or today? Was it
today?
Today? Yesterday?
It's at the shop. I got to pick it up in the morning. Get new bars and a stem on it.
What did the guy say on it? Oh, you're gonna do my advice to you?
I get the riser bars and and changing the handles on it. Yeah.
Cool. What did he say about the bike?
Oh yeah, he said it was sweet. He said I asked him. I said, man, how much do you think this is worth? And he said, he said, man, it's probably a $2,700 bike back in the day. I said I was told it was a little bit more. He said it might have been, and he said it's probably worth about $1,300 now. And I said, dude, I told him what I paid for it. He said, no, yeah, you got a good deal.
Yeah, I hooked you up, man. And that's good because like I'd much rather that bike go to someone that's going to pursue the active lifestyle and actually treat it with respect. And if that bike's going to change someone's life, like I'm not looking to kill it on the money on Craigslist in the local market here. Like I'm looking to, if you look at my other channel, it's all about spreading what you know about a whole lot. And that's the reason why Brandon's here on this show, for free, like telling you all the stuff that he's doing to make, good Amazon numbers and how he's chasing a certain lifestyle, which is cool. I think a lot of people kind of how do I say it? They ignore what really makes them happy, right, Brandon?
Yeah, it's like people will do more to avoid pain than to go get the pleasure. Yeah. So they'll push the things away to avoid the pain.
Or they're gonna choose the money route, right? Just to try to go, and they're just miserable at the end. Like you're just all day money.
Yeah. And that's another thing, and I wanted to mention that too. And it's the balance. And see, and I did those numbers in April, but at the end of March, and for a lot of April, I was cranking it, working all the time, And, you know, it's hard to balance on the road anyways, but I had no balance whatsoever. And I think, so, you know, I think if I would have had balance and the balance is, you know, getting out, exercising, going to riding the bike in the evening, you know, going to the gym in the morning, eating healthy. And, you know, and this is all provided, you know, with the RV there as well. And I think I would have done the same numbers. And that sounds insane but I think being that much more efficient, that much more excited to do the Amazon shipments and whatnot, because my mind is in the right state. I'm in the right state of mind, you know, versus just doing it all day, cranking out shipments.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. So what's the gym of choice you're going to use when you go across the nation? Are you going to do Anytime, or are you going to do Gold?
Yeah, I got an account with Anytime. And I've had that for like, I guess, 2 or 3 months now. So, and I've used it a few times, but yeah, because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not a gym that I've seen in more small towns in the country than Anytime Fitness. So.
Yeah, they're all over the place, and they're Anytime. Like anytime you have as long as you have, is it a key or a card? There's something, right?
It's a little key they give you to swipe it.
That's it, and I mean, you're in, right?
Yep.
And that place can be completely unmanned too, sometimes, right?
I think most of them are after certain hours.
That's right. Yeah. So that's part of his story. Let's talk. So your fitness goals, like, where do you want to be? Like, you know, you envision this stuff and you're opening up a different chapter in your life. You got the RV thing on the horizon. You already have the bike, and like, where do you want to be? You want to be confident, thinner, or confident, more lean muscle? What do you?
I mean, I want to get to a point to where, I mean, there's some other personal things, like, you know, I told you I had that back injury when I was in the military stuff. And so, you know, we talked about, you know, different exercises and stuff to do to strengthen core and whatnot. But I just want to be fit to where I can go out there and I can do things, hitting the trails, doing that. And obviously I want to be bigger, put on size and mass. I don't know what guy doesn't want to have 6-pack and all that stuff. But then those are my goals, and I'm going to get there. But, you know, at the same time, I don't want to just do that so I look good. I want to do it so I feel good. So when I go out there and I'm hitting the trails on the bike, I'm not getting lapped, you know, or you know, nobody's, you know, and on top of that, you know, you're shipping these boxes day in and day out, picking them up, moving them around, bending over, and I just don't see how fitness can't help you.
Yeah, you're right. No, fitness absolutely will help
especially with
you.
what we're doing, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't just sit at a desk all day behind a computer. There's more to it than that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Trust me, I've been down the fitness route. I've been doing it since forever, since I was a little kid. Like it just
two and a half
changed
decades,
my
right?
Yeah, it's 2.5 decades in the gym, but I've been active my entire life. Like if I could show you a before and after picture, my before picture is never terrible. Like it's always good. Like there's just no fat bona fide, for example, right? There's no fat pick, like it doesn't exist. And I think that's the best kind of, like, you know, when people say, like, how do you get fit? The best answer is like, well, just try not to ever get not fit. Like just always, once you get fit, stay fit. Like, so that's really interesting. Do you think it's going to be hard being in shape while reselling full time? You don't think so, right?
No, I don't. I mean, because because I mean, you work 12, 14 hours. 14 is probably pushing it, but 12 hours a day, and you go to the gym for an hour, hit the bike for a little bit. I mean, I don't think, no. And then it's also about putting fitness priority over reselling during those hours as well.
Yeah.
You know, because you got to know that has to be priority for you to be efficient during your reselling time.
Yeah, I like how we had a huge conversation, man. Like in a parking lot of a Starbucks, man. We were just like talking and talking and talking. What would have been a 30-minute, like, hey, here's your bike, and talk it over, like, became a 2-hour, just like, you know, BS session between me and him. So I thought it was really fun. And then I don't know, like, we're gonna go mountain bike riding next week and all that kind of stuff. And that's what it really is about. Like you said, like, you know, meeting people that are just like you, better than you, just being around positive-minded people is just really important, whether it's fitness or it's money-related or FBA related. You can see how, you know, just being around like-minded people has really changed Brandon's life considerably. So, Brandon, we are at the tail end of the show, and it felt like it just whizzed right by, man. Like,
that went pretty quick.
The funny thing is, after this, I am going to have a cold one, just so you know.
Me too.
But my cold one of choice right now, since I am gluten intolerant, which sucks. is a Corona Light. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast because this was a lot of fun, and we got through, well, you know, this little makeshift outline that I had right here. We were supposed to have a show today about becoming debt-free with Torin, but Torin had some family issues he had to attend to today, and last minute he had to bail out, and that is completely fine. We will see Torin next week on the Bonafide Hustler channel at 7 p.m. How he got debt-free at 30 years old, being a reseller and everything. He's in the green room. You can hit him up with all kinds of questions. But anyway, he did put a post there about a week ago, and everyone just loved the post. So if you are wondering what the green room is, second link down below, go check it out. If you want a free guide on, like, you know, random stuff to go find at thrift stores, garage sales, all that kind of stuff, this is the first link down below. Go check it out. But to follow more of Brandon's story, he is in the green room. Brandon P. Penrod is your last name. And yeah, and I guess you'll probably see him on one of my active vlogs on my other channel. I'm gonna film next week when you come in and we do mountain biking. Okay.
Okay, as long as I don't crash.
Yeah, don't crash and like be like.
Can't put that on the air.
We'll make it look really cool with slow mo and like all this really cool stuff, man. But we won't show the crash. Is that cool?
Cool.
All right, deal. All right, guys. So thanks for watching the show, Brandon. Any last words for the people in the crowd?
Smash the like button.
Ooh, man, this guy watches the Hangouts. You know it. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next Hangout. Take it easy and laters.
Later.